Emma Hartley stared at her phone screen, reading her sister's text for the third time. Can't wait for you to meet Brandon's family this weekend. Mom wants to know if you're bringing anyone special? Smiling face with smiling eyes. The winky face emoji felt like a knife twist. Her younger sister Olivia was getting engaged at 26, while Emma at 30 remained perpetually single according to every family gathering's commentary. She sat in her favorite corner of brew and bean coffee shop, surrounded by recipe notebooks and the weight of familial expectations. This weekend's engagement party in the Hamptons would be torture. Her ex-boyfriend Marcus would be there with his new girlfriend, a corporate lawyer who probably didn't have flour permanently under her fingernails. You look like you're plotting something illegal. Emma glanced up to find a man standing beside her table, holding a cappuccino and wearing an amused smile. He was attractive in an effortless way, dark hair slightly tousled, green eyes that crinkled at the corners, wearing a casual sweater that probably cost more than her rent but didn't scream wealth. Just contemplating the various ways to fake my own death before Saturday, Emma replied without thinking. He laughed, genuine and warm. That bad? Mind if I sit? All the other tables are taken. Emma gestured to the empty chair, noting the coffee shop was indeed packed. Be my guest. Ryan. He offered his hand. Emma. She shook it, noticing the firm grip and calluses that suggested he actually worked with his hands despite the expensive watch peeking from under his sleeve. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment before Emma's phone buzzed again. Another text from her mother. Emma, darling, I've invited the Hendersons. You remember their son Timothy? He's recently divorced and very successful. Oh, for the love of, Emma cut herself off, dropping her phone on the table. Family troubles? Ryan asked, sipping his cappuccino. My sister's engagement party. My family thinks I'm a tragic spinster because I'm 30 and single. My ex will be there gloating. And now my mother is trying to set me up with her friend's recently divorced son. Emma rubbed her temples. Sorry, you don't need to hear this. Actually, it's quite entertaining. Ryan leaned back, studying her. So you need a date to prove you're not a tragic spinster? I need a boyfriend to shut everyone up for one weekend. Emma looked at him, an insane idea forming. This is going to sound absolutely crazy, but what are you doing this Saturday? That depends on what you're proposing. Emma took a breath. I'll pay you $500 to be my fake boyfriend for my sister's engagement party in the Hamptons. One weekend, simple backstory, minimal physical contact beyond hand-holding, and you never have to see my family again. Ryan's eyebrows rose, but he didn't look offended. You're offering me money to pretend to date you? I know it sounds insane. But I'm desperate. You seem normal and presentable, and honestly, hiring a stranger is less pathetic than showing up alone again. Emma waited for him to laugh and walk away. Instead, Ryan tilted his head thoughtfully. What's the backstory? How did we meet? You're seriously considering this? I'm intrigued. Continue. Emma's mind raced. We met at a food festival 3 months ago. You spilled wine on my dress, felt terrible, bought me dinner to apologize. We bonded over a shared love of terrible puns and have been dating ever since. I do enjoy terrible puns, Ryan mused. What do I do for a living in this scenario? Finance? Something respectable but vague enough that my family won't ask too many questions. Finance works. He pulled out his phone. Give me your number. We should meet before Saturday to get our story straight. If we're going to do this, we should do it convincingly. Emma stared at him. You're actually agreeing to this? Why not? I don't have plans this weekend. $500 is $500, and you seem like you could use a win. Ryan's smile was disarming. Plus, I'm curious to see how this plays out. When was the last time you did something completely impulsive? I once tried to make croissants from scratch at 3 in the morning. That doesn't count. That's just being a pastry chef. He handed her his phone. Put your number in. We'll meet Wednesday evening to rehearse our epic love story. As Emma typed in her contact information, part of her couldn't believe this was happening. She was hiring a complete stranger to pretend to be her boyfriend. This was either brilliantly practical or absolutely insane. One rule, Ryan said as she handed back his phone. Whatever happens this weekend, we're honest with each other about boundaries and comfort levels. Deal? Deal. Emma shook his hand again, this time feeling the weight of their agreement. Thank you, Ryan. Seriously. You have no idea how much pressure you're taking off me. Happy to help. Besides, unable to stay in the room with his suspicion poisoning the air between them. Where are you going? Away from you. She met his eyes, letting him see the devastation there. I came here terrified about this pregnancy, hoping you'd be scared too, maybe confused, but hoping we'd figure it out together. Instead, you've shown me exactly what you think of me. That I'm calculating, manipulative, money-hungry. Isabella, wait. No. She held up her hand. You don't get to accuse me of the worst possible motives and then ask me to wait while you process. I'm going home. I'm going to make decisions about my future and this baby's future. And Marcus? Those decisions don't include you unless you can look at me and honestly believe I'm capable of something better than betrayal. She walked out, leaving Marcus standing alone in his glass tower, surrounded by all the wealth and success that had never kept him warm or made him feel less empty. This time, Isabella didn't look back, even though every step away from him felt like tearing apart something vital. Monday morning arrived with the weight of inevitability. Isabella dressed carefully in her most professional outfit, applied makeup to hide evidence of a weekend spent crying, and arrived at Zenith Industries 15 minutes early as always. She needed this job. Her mother's cancer treatments had depleted the family savings, and Isabella sent money home to Queens every month to help with bills. Pride wouldn't pay for her mother's medication or keep a roof over her head once the baby arrived. Marcus was already in his office when she settled at her desk, his door closed. Through the glass wall, she could see him on the phone, looking as haggard as she felt. Good. She hoped he'd spent the weekend feeling even a fraction of the pain he'd caused her. The day proceeded with painful formality. Isabella answered his emails with professional brevity, managed his calendar without commentary, and coordinated meetings with the efficiency she'd always prided herself on. When Marcus emerged for the 10 o'clock conference with the board of directors, their eyes met briefly. "Good morning, Mr. Whitmore," she said coolly. "Your presentation materials are ready in the boardroom." "Thank you, Ms. Torres." His voice matched her formality, but she caught the flash of hurt in his expression. By Wednesday, the strain was beginning to show. Isabella's morning sickness hit hardest between 9 and 11, forcing her to make frequent trips to the bathroom. She tried to be discreet, but nothing escaped Marcus's attention. Several times she caught him watching her with an expression she couldn't quite read, concern mixed with something that might have been regret. David Chen appeared at her desk Thursday afternoon, his usual friendly smile replaced with concern. "Isabella, you look exhausted. Are you feeling all right?" "Just tired," she lied, managing a weak smile. "Big project deadlines coming up. You know you can talk to me, right? If something's going on." David glanced toward Marcus's office. "The tension around here is thick enough to cut with a knife." Before Isabella could respond, Marcus emerged from his office. "David, do you have those revised contracts from the Singapore team?" "In your inbox as of an hour ago." David studied his friend. "You look terrible, by the way. When's the last time you slept?" "I'm fine." Marcus's gaze flickered to Isabella, who quickly looked away. "Isabella, could I see you in my office please?" Her stomach lurched, though whether from morning sickness or dread, she couldn't tell. "Of course, Mr. Whitmore." Inside his office with the door closed, Marcus gestured to a chair. "Please sit. You look pale." "I'm perfectly capable of standing." "Isabella, please." His voice softened. "Just sit for a minute." She perched on the edge of the chair, spine straight, refusing to show weakness. Marcus ran a hand through his hair, a gesture she recognized as frustration. "I've been trying to find the right words since Friday night. The right way to apologize for what I said, how I reacted. There are no right words for accusing someone of being a gold digger and a liar." "I know." He leaned against his desk. "What I said was cruel and unfair. You've never given me any reason to doubt your integrity, and I let my past trauma override everything I know about who you are." Isabella studied him, seeing the genuine remorse in his expression. Part of her wanted to accept the apology, to find a way back to what they'd had. But the larger part remembered the cold suspicion in his eyes, the ease with which he'd believed the worst of her. "Marcus, I appreciate the apology. But an apology doesn't undo the damage." She placed her hand protectively over her still flat stomach. "You showed me that when things get difficult, your first instinct is to assume I'm trying to manipulate you. How am I supposed to build a life with someone who thinks so little of me? I don't think. I have a feeling this is going to be more fun than anything else I had planned." He finished his cappuccino and stood. "I'll text you about Wednesday. And Emma? Try to relax. We're going to pull this off perfectly." After he left, Emma sat staring at her phone, wondering what she'd just set in motion. She'd hired a fake boyfriend. A handsome, seemingly kind fake boyfriend who agreed to her crazy scheme without judgment. Her phone buzzed with a new text from an unknown number, "Looking forward to our fake romance. This is going to be interesting. R." Despite everything, Emma found herself smiling. Wednesday evening found Emma nervously arranging her apartment for the third time. Ryan was due any minute, and she'd spent an embarrassing amount of time choosing an outfit that said, "casual rehearsal," rather than, "trying too hard for fake boyfriend practice." The doorbell rang at exactly 7 o'clock. Ryan stood in her doorway holding a bottle of wine and wearing jeans with a button-down shirt that made him look unfairly attractive. "Thought we might need this for rehearsal. Also, I brought notes." "You made notes?" Emma stepped aside to let him in, catching a hint of his cologne, something woodsy and understated. "I'm thorough." He handed her the wine and pulled out his phone, showing her a detailed document. "Relationship timeline, favorite memories we've shared, inside jokes, the works. If your family asks questions, we need consistent answers." Emma poured them each a glass of wine, impressed despite herself. "You're taking this more seriously than I expected. If we're doing this, we should do it right." Ryan settled onto her couch, looking entirely too comfortable in her small apartment. "Besides, I did some research on your family. Your father is Judge Hartley, retired. Your mother sits on 3 charity boards. Your sister Olivia is marrying Brandon Chen, whose family owns half the commercial real estate in Manhattan. This isn't just any engagement party. You researched my family?" Emma wasn't sure whether to be flattered or concerned. "Know your audience. Basic preparation." He sipped his wine. "So, let's start with body language. Couples have natural physical proximity. We should practice that so it doesn't look awkward on Saturday." Emma's heart rate picked up. "Practice physical proximity? Nothing inappropriate. Just hand-holding, standing close, maybe an arm around your waist. The little touches that signal intimacy." Ryan patted the couch beside him. "Come sit. Let's see how this feels." Emma sat, acutely aware of the warmth radiating from him. Ryan took her hand, his fingers lacing through hers naturally. "See? Not terrible." He smiled. "Now tell me something real about yourself. If we're going to be convincing, I need to actually know you beyond the backstory. What do you want to know? Why pastry? You could have gone into any culinary field. Emma relaxed slightly, talking about her passion always came easily. My grandmother taught me to bake when I was 7. She was from Lyon, trained at a proper French pâtisserie. She said baking was edible art, the perfect marriage of science and creativity. When she died, she left me her recipe notebooks. Everything I make is trying to honor her legacy. Ryan's expression softened. That's beautiful. And much more interesting than we met at a food festival. Why don't we say I came into your bakery, tried your croissants, and declared them the best I'd ever tasted? It's closer to truth. You've never tried my croissants. Then I should, shouldn't I? If I'm going to convincingly rave about your talent. He squeezed her hand. What else should I know? Favorite things, pet peeves, dreams? They talked for hours, the wine loosening their tongues. Emma learned Ryan loved classic films, spoke 3 languages, and had a weakness for terrible dad jokes. Ryan discovered Emma was working toward opening her own pâtisserie, collected vintage cookbooks, and had once punched a food critic who made her sous chef cry. Remind me never to insult your staff, Ryan laughed. He called her incompetent and untalented. She was 19 and trying her best. Emma shrugged. I don't regret it. Fierce loyalty. I like that. Ryan checked his watch. We should practice the crucial moment, the greeting kiss. Your family will expect it. Emma's mouth went dry. Greeting kiss? Just a quick peck. Nothing dramatic. But when Ryan leaned in, his hand cupping her cheek, the kiss lingered longer than either intended. His lips were soft, and Emma found herself leaning into it before remembering this was pretend. They pulled apart, both slightly breathless. They fell asleep tangled together, and when Emma woke to find him still there in the morning light, making coffee in her kitchen wearing his dress shirt from the night before, something in her chest cracked open. She was falling in love with her fake boyfriend. The realization should have terrified her, but watching Ryan hum while searching for her coffee mugs, she felt only certainty. What are you thinking about? Ryan asked, catching her staring. That I'm really glad I desperately needed a date to my sister's engagement party. He crossed to her, pulling her into his arms. Best $500 I never actually took from you. What? I donated it to the Culinary Scholarship Fund at the community college the day after we met. Figured it was better used helping aspiring chefs than sitting in my account. Emma pulled back to look at him. You donated my fake boyfriend payment? It felt wrong to profit from spending time with someone I was already interested in. Ryan tucked her hair behind her ear. I knew the first day at the coffee shop that I wanted to know you better. The fake boyfriend thing just gave me an excuse. You're impossibly perfect, you know that? I'm really not. I'm just a guy who got lucky when a beautiful pastry chef made him an insane proposition. He kissed her nose. Now, what are your plans today? Because I was thinking we could visit that vintage cookbook shop you mentioned, then maybe get dinner, possibly never leave this apartment. Emma laughed, pulling him back toward the bedroom. I like option 3. As they fell back into bed together, the morning sunlight streaming through her windows, Emma couldn't remember the last time she'd felt this happy, this certain, this completely herself with another person. Their arrangement had become something infinitely more valuable than she'd ever imagined. The weekend ended too quickly. On Sunday evening, Ryan helped Emma load her car while her family waved goodbye from the porch, utterly charmed by her boyfriend. You were amazing, Emma said once they were on the highway back to the city. My mother actually likes you, which is unprecedented. And my father asked if you play golf, which means he approves. They're good people. Intense, but loving. Ryan glanced at her. You know, we should probably maintain this for a while. Your sister's wedding is in 3 months. If we break up too soon, your family will ask questions. Emma's heart jumped. You want to keep doing this? Why not? We work well together. Plus, your mother invited us to Sunday dinner next week. Would be rude to disappoint her. So began their arrangement extension. Sunday dinners became weekly events, with Ryan seamlessly integrating into the Hartley family dynamic. But between family obligations, Emma and Ryan found reasons to meet on their own. We should know each other's favorite restaurants, Ryan suggested, which led to trying new places every week. Couples go to movies together, Emma mentioned, resulting in classic film marathons at her apartment. I should understand your work, Ryan said, showing up at Marchand on her late shifts to watch her create edible art. One evening, 2 weeks after the engagement party, Emma was struggling with a particularly difficult recipe, her grandmother's legendary millefeuille that required perfect pastry layers and precise timing. It's not coming together, she groaned, staring at her third failed attempt. The pastry cream keeps splitting. Ryan, who'd been sitting at her kitchen counter reading, looked up. What if the butter's too cold? When you mentioned your grandmother's technique earlier, didn't you say she insisted on room temperature dairy? Emma checked her ingredients. He was right, she'd forgotten that crucial detail in her frustration. How did you remember that? I pay attention when you talk about things you love. Ryan moved behind her, his hands resting lightly on her shoulders. Try again. I believe in you. With his quiet presence anchoring her, Emma remade the pastry cream. This time it came together perfectly, silky, smooth, exactly as her grandmother had taught her. When she assembled the final millefeuille, the layers were pristine. It's perfect, Ryan breathed, looking at the finished dessert with genuine admiration. Emma, you're an artist. She turned to thank him and found herself inches from his face, his hands still resting on her shoulders. The kitchen suddenly felt too small, too warm. Ryan, she whispered, unsure what she was asking. He answered by kissing her, and this time there was nothing fake about it. His mouth moved against hers with hunger that had been building for weeks. Emma's hands fisted in his shirt, pulling him closer, tasting wine and want and something that felt dangerously like need. They stumbled toward her bedroom, shedding clothes between kisses. When they fell into her bed together, skin against skin, Emma knew this crossed every boundary of their arrangement. But she couldn't bring herself to care, not when Ryan touched her like she was precious, when he whispered her name like a prayer, when being with him felt like finally coming home. Afterward, wrapped in her sheets with Ryan's arm around her waist, Emma traced patterns on his chest. We should probably talk about this. Probably, he agreed, pressing a kiss to her hair. But I don't want to. I don't want to analyze or define or risk ruining this by overthinking. So what do we do? We keep going. See where this leads. Ryan tilted her face up to his. I know this started as a business arrangement, but Emma, what I feel for you isn't fake. I don't think it has been for a while. Me either, she admitted. I'm terrified, though. What if we mess this up? What if my family finds out how we really met? Then we deal with it together. He kissed her softly. But right now, can we just be Emma and Ryan? Not the fake couple, not the arrangement. Just us, figuring out something real? She nodded, settling against his chest and listening to his heartbeat. Tell me something true. Something you've never told anyone else. Ryan was quiet for a long moment. Sometimes I feel like I'm playing a role in my own life. Like people see what they want to see, not who I actually am. But with you, I feel seen. Known. It's terrifying and wonderful. Emma understood completely. I feel the same way. Everyone sees the responsible daughter, the dedicated pastry chef, the woman who has it all figured out. But you've seen me frustrated and messy and imperfect, and you're still here. I'm not going anywhere, Ryan promised.